Everybody for coming out. It's a great turnout. I'm Jeff Tittle, Director of New Jersey Sierra Club. I also happen to live about 3 blocks from here, so I know what a lot of people here are going through and are concerned about. I'm that slow guy you see on the canal jogging that everybody passes, including, I think, kids and walkers. But anyway, we're here because, quite frankly, New Jersey has become the crossroads environmentally when it comes to dealing with clean energy and dealing with issues with natural gas. New Jersey was one of the most progressive states in the nation, where we used to be second in the nation in solar. We were promoting offshore wind, doing a lot on renewable energy, and now we've become awash in natural gas. There are currently 8 pipelines that are being proposed for different parts of New Jersey, or additions to existing pipelines, and 7 just in the Delaware Valley. So you have an understanding of what this is about. Because of the fracking that's taking place in the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, all of a sudden New Jersey becomes the place where they want to bring everything through. And what we are seeing happening is proposal after proposal going through different parts, including right down the center of Jersey City. They want to, drilling under the Monksville Reservoir, which is the largest reservoir system in New Jersey. And now this new proposal, PennEast. What is of most concern with this pipeline is it's not about bringing gas to people in New Jersey. It's not about anything to do with energy efficiency. It's really about pushing a pipeline through one of the last remaining open space areas and farm valleys left in New Jersey, and shipping that gas who knows where. I mean, there could be a need for 1 pipeline, maybe 2 pipelines, but what's happening is this rush to build all these pipelines is really about trying to control the future by addicting us to natural gas and preventing wind and energy efficiency and renewable energy from moving forward. And so when you look at this pipeline, you have to understand the reason that they want to come through this area is because of the great job so many people in this region have done in preserving open space, because it's cheaper to bring it through open space that's preserved than bringing it through development, bringing it through other lands. So we're here tonight really as an educational forum. We're going to have different speakers talk about the different aspects of how to deal with a pipeline once they're being proposed. What are the regulatory challenges and issues, environmental impacts? What are your property rights? What can you do as a citizen to help protect your property, or how you can work with your neighbors and your community in trying to stop this pipeline? So this is really about trying to educate the public and everyone here and your neighbors and everybody else on what their rights are and what they can do about it. Because not only will this pipeline be an ugly scar through the middle of your community, but it's really about our energy future. And they're fracking out in Pennsylvania, and that could end up in New Jersey too. We do have shale deposits in the northwestern part of the state, but it's also about fracturing our open space in our valleys. And one thing I always like to mention is when they cut through open space, a friend of mine up in Ringwood sold his land to the state in 2007 and got $40,000 an acre. When the gas company went through the Green Acres property, they only paid the state $4,000 an acre, because it's cheaper to go through open space, because it's only counted as open space, not as private property. And this is a massive industrial use cutting through this area where there'll be a lot of noise, there'll be a lot of air pollution, you can smell it, you can hear it. Just go up to West Amwell and go by that compressor station, and you'll understand why what the stakes are. And that's really why I'm here, and joined with the Delaware Riverkeeper and Linda Farrell from Pipeline Safety, Karen Verdon from Berks Gath Truth, and Kate Millsaps from the Sierra Club. But I just wanted to give everybody an opening, because this is really about working together, understanding what we can do, and then sticking together to make sure that we can protect this area from this pipeline, but more importantly, that we can really move New Jersey and this country forward for clean energy. I want to do a quick 30-second commercial. On Sunday is the People's Climate March at SierraClub350.org, and Delaware Riverkeeper, many other groups are part of. So it's also a good place to vent your frustration about the environment and the lack of doing anything about it, especially with climate change. And and you're going to be right in the middle of it, because this pipeline is really about our future and promoting more fossil fuels You know, and what I will just say is that Pennsylvania will get the money. Europe or New York City will get the gas, and we get the pipe. And so it's really up to all of us.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Kate Millsaps. I'm the Conservation Program Coordinator with the New Jersey Sierra Club. And tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's process of how they review these pipelines. No application has been submitted to them at this point, but I'm just going to go through how that process will work if they do end up submitting an application. So FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, they are an independent agency in but not of the Department of Energy. It is a 5-commissioner board. They are nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate to serve on this board. It started in the 30s, basically to regulate hydroelectricity, and over the years they've been given more approval power, and now that extends to interstate gas transmission lines. So the FERC will consider their application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity. That is the approval they need to get. They do not have eminent domain ability before they receive that approval, and they actually cannot start construction with that approval. They still need to get the notice to proceed once if they get that in place. While they're reviewing that application, they'll look at the environmental impacts as part of a review under the National Environmental Policy Act, but the board also considers other factors such as the market for gas, the current tariffs on gas. There's other considerations that go into that decision making. In their review process, they'll invite in other cooperating agencies. So this is where the state regulatory agencies will play a role, such as the DEP, and it's also where U.S. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, those federal agencies will participate as a cooperating agency. And one of the key cooperating agencies, as Linda showed the map for them before, is the Pipeline Hazardous and Safety Materials Administration. So they actually do not have a say in the approval of the pipeline. They set the safety standards and ensure that during the construction process, the pipeline will meet those safety standards, but the siting and construction approval is all done through FERC. So right now, they have not submitted anything to any federal agency or state agency. They just closed what's called an open season. The way that the FERC application works is they have to show the commission that they have contracts to purchase the gas, but this is all on the supply side. It's not on the demand side. It's the people in the Marcellus Shale, and Maya's going to get into more of where this gas is coming from. But it's the supply side saying we need to move our gas, and the pipeline company saying we can offer you the capacity to move that gas. They don't need a definitive where this is going to end up. Right now, they have completed the open season, which is the period where they solicit these contracts from companies. It ended the first week of September, and 96% of the capacity of the pipeline was accounted for. And they said that they were doing final contracts to fill that last 4% this month. So that's the first step in them getting their application together, is they actually have to have these firm contracts in hand. Then they'll come in for a pre-filing process. Besides the firm contracts, they like to have a lot of their surveying done when they come into FERC as part of the pre-filing process. So that's why the denying survey permission is so important, because that makes it a lot harder for them to get their materials together to present to FERC even in the pre-filing process. And that can significantly delay, if not in certain cases, like with Commonwealth, that was one of the key factors in defeating the project, was the delays as a result of not having the survey information. So once the company comes in for the pre-filing process, it's this very shady area where FERC actually will work with the pipeline company to say, this is a deficiency in your application, this is a problem that we're concerned about, and like red flags those problems for the operator before they even come in with a final application. And often during the pre-filing process, they will begin doing the environmental reviews under the National Environmental Policy Act, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But one of the first steps in the pre-filing process is the open house. And the Holland Township Town Council, they're going to be hosting a public meeting with PennEast on October 1st. And Mike, where is that meeting at?
It's at the Firehouse in Holland, which is on Route 519, also called Milford Warren Glen Road.
Okay.
7
So 7 p.m. October 1st, that's when they're going to be having their first public presentation. And my understanding is that's going to be them presenting to the council, and there will be some public comment as part of any public hearing. But the open house is different in that it's a much more laid-back format. That's when they'll actually present their proposed route to the public. Right now, they're surveying what they have as their preferred route and then alternatives. But at the open house, you'll get a better understanding of where they actually want to put the pipeline down. And they'll have representatives from the company available to answer your questions. I would just say, take it with a grain of salt. I've been at open houses where pipeline operators I've listened to them tell people concerned about safety issues that they do drive-bys of the pipeline once a week. And so they will come with their dog and pony show and present this information to you, but I would just anybody that lives along the existing, pipeline here knows that nobody's doing a once a week drive-by of their pipeline. We've had instances where they said that, and then they get out to a house that's right on one of the main roads, and they built a shed on top of the pipeline, which you're not allowed to do with the easement. If you're doing your drive-by once a week, you should have noticed there was a shed on your right-of-way. But so that's the open house process, and that'll be the first step.
Supposedly next week there's one. Newspapers have announced.
So town councils are having meetings now to take comments from the public and get public concerns, but PennEast is 4 different energy operators and pipeline companies that have come together. So it's 4 different companies, and they have stated that they're not going to do any public meetings until after the end of September. So the Holland Township is the first one that's been set up.
That's the town's doing that.
The town's doing
That's
it.
separate, that's a separate.
Please
hold the questions to the end.
PennEast is coming September 23rd to Hopewell.
They did?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they're coming to Delaware Township.
Delaware 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry. I guess Holland Township was the first one that set up a meeting with PennEast, because they had invited them several times and hadn't come, but they had said that they were waiting until the end of September to start having public meetings. So sorry for that misinformation.
The 29th is pretty close to the end.
Yeah, they might be caving to public pressure, like Maya said. But so that'll be the open house process. We might get 2 in New Jersey, but it's not guaranteed. Often for meetings like that, they'll only hold 3 along the entire pipeline route. So we may only have 1 meeting in New Jersey for the open house, and in the environmental review process, we might only have 1 meeting in New Jersey as well.
And excuse me, where was that again?
It's not scheduled.
It's not scheduled. No. This is all like coming down the pipe if they actually continue moving forward with their application. During the pre-filing process, you can submit comments. They will go on the record at that time under the pre-filing docket. Once they submit their actual application, it opens a new docket with a new docket number. So I'm going to talk about how to subscribe to receive all the information from FERC. But at the time that they actually submit their application, you will have to register for the new docket to continue receiving the information from them. Once they submit their application, it's officially before the commission. The pre-filing process, it was not officially before the commission. They're just working with them. That is when you can actually intervene. And what intervening is it's just putting your position on the record. So other power users and power suppliers will intervene supporting the project. Groups like Sierra Club, Delaware Riverkeeper Network, and individual citizens, individual citizens can go either way, but you can intervene against the project. So it doesn't mean that it just means that you're putting on the record how you officially feel about the project. But it's very important because this is the only way that you have legal recourse after FERC's decision. If you want to challenge FERC's order approving the Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, you need to be an intervener in the application process. It's a very easy process. Eastern Environmental Law Center has come up with a 2-page document to help you register, and we'll be happy to share that once we get further in the process. There's also directions on FERC's website, and you have 30 days to do it once the application is officially filed. So this is a key way to get involved. This is where your public comment will matter the most because you'll actually prepare a statement on why you want to intervene. You can have a lawyer help you or you can do it on your own. The other way to get involved in the FERC process is during the NEPA review, which is the National Environmental Policy Act. So it is unclear where the pipeline is going to go right now, but FERC regulations require a full environmental impact statement be prepared for a pipeline that's on brand new virgin right-of-way. So that is a higher environmental standard to meet than an environmental assessment. But we're not sure if they're going to be using brand new right-of-way because they could try to partner with another utility to use existing right-of-way, or if they really are proposing to use a brand new right-of-way. Like I said, they don't have any application, we haven't seen their route, we don't know what they're going to do. But if they are proposing to use a brand new right-of-way, they should have to prepare an environmental impact statement, which is a higher standard. Oh, Steve, which is a higher standard to meet. They'll issue a notice of intent saying that they're going to prepare this environmental document. And then that will open a 30-day scoping period, and during that time there will be a round of public hearings. Like I said, we might have 2, most likely 1 here in New Jersey. That is, the scoping period is when you need to get all of your environmental, public health, and safety concerns on the record. If they release their environmental impact statement and it doesn't have the impacts to brook trout in this one stream, then it should have been brought up during scoping period. It's difficult to challenge something in court later if it was not brought up during the scoping period. That's when all the concerns need to be raised. So this is a very important comment period in the process. Following the end of the scoping period, they will take all the input and prepare the environmental document, either the assessment or the impact statement. There is no strict deadline for when they have to issue it. For the Skillman project, it was about like 12 to 18 months. I mean, it was a really long time. The comment period closed in July, and they didn't come out until the next year. So about 12 months they took to actually prepare the environmental statement or environmental assessment for that project. So they'll either say, if it's an environmental assessment, that a full EIS needs to be done, but we might be starting with an EIS in this process, or they'll find no significant impact. And if it's an EIS, they'll either, the federal agency will say their preferred route, and that could be the no-build alternative. That is one of the options in an EIS. And then they'll issue the record of decision with what they think should be the preferred route. So that is just one part of FERC's decision-making process. Once the environmental review is done, it'll go before the commissioners, and like I said, they're also going to look at market conditions, they're going to look at the current tariffs on natural gas, and they'll actually vote on the application, not at a predetermined time. There's no time frame of how soon after the environmental document is done they'll vote. But they do have monthly meetings, and the vote would take place at one of those meetings. Yeah, so after they take the vote, The first step in challenging it would be to request a rehearing of the application, and like I said, you can only do that if you have the intervener status. So we would highly encourage everybody here to do that once the application is actually filed. And then my final slide is just, there's two ways to use the FERC website. There's the FERC e-comment, which allows you to submit comments, and it shares them with everybody on the that has also intervened, because one of the requirements of being an intervener is you have to serve all the other interveners your notice. So it's really easy to do. They might try to use that to scare you to not intervene, but if you use e-comment, it goes to everybody that needs to legally get it for it to be a valid submission of intervener status. And then the last one is the FERC e-subscription. You do need to register with FERC to do that. It takes 3 seconds, and then you would enter the docket number, and you would then receive all the emails associated with the FERC proceeding. And like I said before, once it goes from pre-filing to application, the number will change. So they send you a message saying the number will change. You just have to keep an eye out for that.